let's assume I'm asking you to come and start paying for WhatsApp subscription, for instance, because I believe they will get there very soon. So if they say, oh, let's start paying for WhatsApp, so it's maybe £1 per month, right? But if we get to that, I think Telegram has something like that. If you're looking for a much robust items, you do ask you to come and pay, to use those items. So it's just essentially doing the same selling, but tech sales is just selling mainly digital products. Okay, look at it this way, right? You have the football. Let's use a football team. You have a football team and you have the players, which are usually on the pitch playing. You have a coach, you have an assistant coach, you have the technical support, you have the medics, you have the other guys that are behind. Most time we don't get to see, these other guys, right? Those guys are like administrators. They help get the jersey, they help, get the boots, they help, feed the players, whatever. So what salesman and Salesforce administration usually do is that what Salesforce itself is a product. So you can learn that product and know how to use that product. All right, so I'm just gonna put it on full screen. Can everyone see my screen now?
Yes.
All right, thank you, sir. So basically, we're going to talk about tech sales. Then we'll move on to account management, and then we'll move on to customer success. We're moving on. We're doing it in this line, and reason is because usually it's usually a process or a sales flow. So usually you'd have the sales guys who would go out, get the customers, get new clients, bring them, try to sell this product to them. I'm using general terms before we go into tech specific terms. Many of us may have or may not have experience with selling physical or digital products, but it's okay. So as long as you can sell something, as long as you've sold something before, tech sales should not be an issue, right? So then when they bring these guys into the company, right? The account managers are guys who would then go into these clients' accounts, try to nurture these clients, right? Responding to their day-to-day needs, responding to their day-to-day calls, seeing that these businesses actually grows. So technically, how it should happen is the sales guy goes out to bring in the clients, account managers see to the clients, and then manage them, right? When that is done, then anything that has to do with maybe support, maybe they want to get like other stuff as regards upselling, reselling, we're going to define all those terms later, or cross-selling, right? Then the customer success can help with that. So like I explained earlier, in typical climbs, right? In typical climbs, one person does all this. So I used to be a sales manager at Vitafoam when I was in Nigeria, and this was what we were doing. Like we had to like go through all this process. It was stressful, yes, but it did let us learn, one or two things. If you have questions at any point, please just raise your hand or put it in chat, and then I'll be happy to answer. So moving on. So the first, like I said, we're going to talk about tech sales first, and then look at the fundamental skill strategies, and then from there we'll run into account management and then customer success. So objective of this is to understand the the basics, right? And then learn the process and then identify the key skills that we can use. So what is tech sales, right? It involves selling technology products or services to businesses or consumers. So imagine somebody comes to you and they want to sell, let's say this, right? This is not classified as tech sales, right? This is a physical product. No matter how technical the physical product is, tech sales usually involves digital products that you cannot see. So if, let's say, somebody comes to your office to pitch maybe a Microsoft software, for instance, or somebody wants to sell you a Canva software, or let's say you're working for a software as a service company, let's say PiggyVest or Cowrywise or Rise or Facebook, right? These are digital companies and they have digital products that you cannot hold, right? So tech sales is just talking about selling those kind of products where you have to go head first with value, because at the end of the day, the person cannot see this product, but then they are supposed to experience it, and its aim or importance is to drive revenue growth, and market share for tech companies, because not all companies are involved in selling physical products. Right, some sell digital products, like Facebook is a digital product, Instagram is a digital product, X, which was formerly Twitter, is a digital product, right? They have sales guys. You might not just see them physically, but when you are maybe doing something online and an ad comes up and that ad says that, have you opened a Facebook account today? Or come and do, are you connecting with your friends, or they just bring out one very nice copy. That is their own way of advertising that product to you. Right. So the importance of this is that it obviously helps to make more money because these companies are in there for the business and also to make money, and also customer acquisition. I don't know how many of us follow the trend, where it took about ChatGPT, I think about 3 days to hit 100 million subscribers or 100 million users. ChatGPT in itself, GPT, that's product, it's a digital product, right? And they broke a record, right, in less than about 3 days. And that same record took Facebook how many years, to get to. So these are digital products, and then it helps to bring innovation. So imagine if we lived in a climate where there was no Facebook. In fact, the platform we're using for this meeting is Zoom. Zoom is a digital product. Do you get what I'm saying? So the advent of digital products usually help in growth. Now, there's a process for it, right? Identifying potential customers, qualifying these leads, pitching, handling objections, closing, and then follow up, right? So we're going to go through all this, and I will try to run through in the time that I have left. Right, cool. So prospecting, let's move on. So by definition, right, by definition, is a process of identifying potential customers, right? So if you want to sell a car, I'm pretty sure that you would not go to a bus park or a bus stop to go and sell maybe a Ferrari, for instance. Your Technically, your brain will tell you that your customers are not here, right? The same thing with tech sales. Someone made a joke that, why don't we see, all these, luxury cars, right? Why don't you see their ads on TV? Ferrari, the Bugattis, Aston Martins, that why don't we see their ads on, our regular television when we are watching news or whatever? Somebody replied and he says that it's because their potential customers don't sit down to watch TV, right? Whether this is true or not, but it got me thinking, because at the end of the day, I hardly see any of these adverts on my regular TV, right? They are usually in airport lounges, in high-end magazines, or they sponsor corporate events, because that is where they know that their customers are. So essentially, that is what, identifying your potential customer will help you do, help you think. So for a Facebook that is looking for a customer, a Facebook definitely will be on my Google Chrome ad. They'll be there pitching me, maybe putting an advert there. Or if I'm checking something on my Apple Store, definitely I can see one of their ads. It's that, because that is where their customer, would be, right? Also, there are techniques, in this, right? Most people say, oh, there's a sales funnel, there's a lead generation funnel. They are all different concepts for explaining the fact that when you are prospecting a customer, or when you're trying to make a sale, you have to have planned the whole journey from top to bottom. Like, you have to have planned every single journey. And if you don't have that plan in place, your customer is going to fall out. And that way, if you are passing your customer through that process, then it's then easy to know where the customers are dropping out. So the more leads you have, let's say you have about 1,000 people sign up. So just to give us an instance now, when we're planning for this, we had about 287 people register, right, for this. Now, these people registered, but now I think we can have an idea of how many people are actually in this call, right? We have about 20, if I'm not mistaken, we have about 22 people here, and then we have the same number in all the other classes, because two other classes are holding concurrently, project management and cybersecurity, right? They are holding in, and we have the same, almost the same amount of people in all those other classes too. So that's gives us about 60 people in the meeting totally. Now, see how many people registered? 287. Now, 287 people registered, about 60 people are actually joining the meeting. That is how sales and lead generation works. The more leads you have, right, the more the potential customers you have. So let's assume I was going to sell a product, right, to you guys. Now, the 60 people that joined, maybe 10 or 15 would then part with their money to buy. So that is how sales generation works. That is how prospecting leads. So when you have more leads, you have more potential to make more money. And another way to prospect leads is by attending networking events. Maybe Coca-Cola is hosting an event in town. Definitely you should attend if you are trying to, like, pitch products, because that is where your potential clients would be. Then of course we cannot take away online research, right? And then using CRM tools. CRM is just a short form of customer relationship tools, right? Like Salesforce, like HubSpot, CRM tools like Sage, ERP. These are all different tools that you use to manage. So essentially, these tools just help you. So imagine you push out an ad, and this ad about the ads online have about 1,000 people. Obviously, you can't be following up 1,000 people. You can't write it down somewhere. They have to pass through a particular, software that will help you categorize them. So that is what CRM tools will help you do. So these are just a brief highlights on sales pitching and closing techniques, right? There's a saying that if you cannot explain your product, in about 30 seconds, then you don't know what you're doing, right? You at every point you have to, whatever you're selling, you have to be able to craft a pitch for it. And most people call it an elevator pitch, right? Elevator, because the average elevator, let's say you're going from first to like 10th floor, takes about maybe 15 seconds maximum, or 30 seconds. You have to be able to sell your product from start to finish within that 15 seconds. So whatever product you're selling, you have to be able to craft an elevator pitch. You have to know your audience. Obviously, like I said, you're not going to go pitch a product to someone who is not going to buy, or you don't see that they have the money, or they're not probably interested. And then value proposition. Someone said that people pay for value, right? That is why, jokingly, the chicken in the buka in maybe Ogba, all right? Ogba is a place in Lagos. It's the same chicken that they are selling for you in, let's say, 4 Points in Victoria Island, right? But the price of the chicken in 4 Points is a very high end. I think it's a 5-star hotel, right? It definitely is like times 200 of the amount you spend in a local restaurant. What have they done? They've given you this perceived knowledge of value, that ours is more valuable. They didn't necessarily do anything. Can everyone still hear me? Someone put in chat that they can't hear me. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you, sir.
All right. Awesome. 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 Oluwatobi, Aserifa, maybe you can try and log in and come in again, because I see you put in chat you cannot hear me. So they didn't do anything different in this in it. It's the same chicken that they probably go to the same farm, the same farmer to go and buy it. But then they've been able to package it and attach some sort of value. Maybe their chefs are dressing nice, or maybe they use AC, air conditioning for you, and you're eating, you're not sweating, right? So you have to clearly be able to be clear. You have to be able to clearly articulate the value that your product is bringing. Just know that whatever product you're going to be trying to sell, we have about 10 people doing the same thing. So what makes yours different, right? And then storytelling, right? Storytelling is very key. Storytelling essentially just explains the fact that you should be able to, not beyond tell us the basic grammar, in your, or the lingua, or maybe. So I used to sell, at one point I used to sell mattresses and foams and pillows and all, to schools, to hospitals, to universities, right? And then I'm going to pitch to a client, and this is a physical product, and not a tech product, right? I should be able to explain to that client using stories how using my product, knowing that we have over 50 phone manufacturers probably in West Africa, how using my products is the best thing that will ever happen to them after sliced bread, right? So That is what I have to do. It's my job as a salesperson to be able to do that. And then closing strategies using call to actions. Do you want to buy now? Do you want to purchase this now? Right? Do not leave it hanging. Don't assume that the person would buy because they might not. They have more than five things calling for that same amount of money, right? And then you check for the agreement that if you have to prepare, a legal document or a draft, check then overcoming your objections, you have to be able to prepare your mind. If the person says no, or if they say it's too expensive, what do I need to say? How do I need to go about it? And then the call to action, you need to be able to tell them, I need to do this. Do you want to buy this thing now? Like then, and there are ways to do this. So we'll move on to the essential skills, right? First is clear communication, right? If you guys cannot hear me or articulate everything I'm saying now, no matter how beautiful the slides are, it's rubbish, right? So the same way, and communication is essentially when you say A to a customer or a person, and the person understands it as the A that you have intended it for it to be. That is what communication is. So the fact that you told me something doesn't mean that you've communicated. I have to understand it exactly the way you mean it. That is when I can say that truly you have actually communicated, right? And then negotiation. Our African mothers or our mothers are very, very, very good at negotiation. Follow them to the market and they want to buy something. If it's priced at 500, they can buy it at 20 naira. And I'm not joking, this has happened before, right? So that negotiation skills, always knowing when not to back down, and putting your value at the forefront. So I advise anyone going to sales or who is trying to understand how sales works, it's not about your price. If you're going to do the price war, right, you will end up with zero profits. It is never about price. And that's just the reality. It is never, ever, ever about price. It's about the perceived value. The perceived value, right? The perceived value. And then the technical knowledge, of course, you have to understand the product that you're trying to sell, the industry you're trying to sell in, and then relationship building, right? Someone said that relationship is the most valuable currency. People would buy things from you because they know you, not necessarily because they actually like the product, or they might even go ahead to test it because of you, right? And then problem solving, of course, is more like support. If the client has any complaints, you should be able to help them. We're looking at different tools. Like I said before, Salesforce, HubSpot, right? Engagement platforms like Outreach, SalesLoft. See, there are different alternatives. Many of us will have come across many. There are different alternatives in managing sales, right? So it's just for you to pick one and then ensure that one aligns with whatever you're trying to do, or whether your company is trying to, or you yourself are trying to sell. So if an Instagram can be a customer relationship management tool for a business that is online, like maybe they are selling hair, Instagram can be, you know, Instagram can be their number one tool as a CRM. They don't have to go and spend money to go and get HubSpot or Salesforce. That one is fine. Instagram can be, they manage their customers on Instagram, manage everything on Instagram. So then engagement platforms, for some people is WhatsApp. As simple as WhatsApp is, as what they use to engage. And then there's email tracking software and then analytics. So these tools usually would be used for different things. So sales, like I said from the beginning, you must know, you have an idea of where you're starting from and where you're going to. You must be able to plan the whole customer journey. If you're not able to do that, please do not even bother, no matter what you're trying to sell, right? Whether it be a digital product, a physical product, but we're talking about a digital product, right? Your customer must have an idea. You must have an idea of the process for your clients or the prospecting clients. You must have from start to end. You must have that that's that idea. And many people have been using AI now, which is very cool. I use AI a lot, right? I use it like for the dance of things. I use AI a lot. So AI also would help you organize data, and many of these tools have started integrating themselves, with AI, which actually makes life easier. For someone who is trying, oh, how can I get into this role? Right? There are entry-level positions, sales development, business development representatives. There are also when you do that for a couple of years, mid-level positions, account executive, sales manager, then senior sales director, VP. Different companies have different names for all these. And for professional certifications and courses, there are a lot of materials out there, right? A lot of materials out there. What I'll do is prepare a document for for this one separate, because somebody can tell me that, oh, in this part of the world, this is recognized. In that part, that is not recognized, right? So there are different ways, to go about this. Just so that I put it out there, if you just joined us, and this is the tech sales class, right? If you check, you should be able to join breakout rooms for project management and cybersecurity. These classes are going on concurrently with this one. All right. So moving on, resources, obviously LinkedIn, and then a webinar like this, it gives you, an idea, and then there are books, and then there are also professional associations, right, that you can join, like the AAISP. It's a bit costly, but but it's worth it because it looks good on your CV, right? But I would say learn the skills first and then pursue certifications later. That's just my own mantra. It's a personal opinion. You don't have to follow it, right? Right. Then we're moving on to account management, right? Remember, we talked sales. The sales guy goes out to get the customers and then bring them into the company. So what account managers would usually do, right, is to um nurture these clients and actually see them grow. So let's assume that let's assume that the account manager is like the parent of the customer. That's the best way I can describe this. That's what account managers are. They hold the hand of the customer when they're having issues, help them grow, nurture their businesses, help them. If the company has more products, they'll pitch it to these guys and say, oh, we're now offering this, right? Are you interested? Do you want to buy? Right. The technical sales person would usually have a target, a sales target or a sales quota. Account management, not so much. Not all companies, would want to put a target on their job because they are not really going out to prospect for new clients like the sales guys. But then they might have a target for retention and churn rate. So retention is just at the end of a period, how many of your customers that started with you are still with you, right? That is retention rate. You divide that by 100 to get the percentage. Now, churn means that is CHURN. Churn means from in a certain period, what's the percentage of customers that have left the business or have stopped using the business. So it's one of the key KPIs for an account manager, right? That their churn and retention, the churn is very low and the retention is very high. Because that's when it shows that you are doing your job. You cannot start with 30 clients at the beginning of the financial year and then end up with 15, right? Your churn is 50%, retention is 50%. That is a very terrible, very, very terrible score. So now account management involves maintaining and growing client relationships. So they must be able to build that day-to-day, engagement with the clients. They'll be the ones sending emails, reaching out to the client, trying to find out if they need anything. And also they would ensure that there's loyalty. I've come across situations whereby, clients will stay with a company, not because of even the product now, but because, right? But because of the person that is managing them. And usually the person managing them will be their account managers. Banks call these relationship managers. Some other organizations, they call it different names, but essentially this person manages the clients on a day-to-day. Why is it important, right? It keeps the clients engaged and reduces churn. It obviously helps to grow revenue, but most times the account manager is not going to be, they're not going to be what's the word now? They're not going to be like targeted based on this, but more on churn. Yes, they will have a target for churn and retention, and then obviously customer satisfaction is everybody's cup of tea. Everyone has to like ensure the customers are always satisfied. So the key responsibilities. So, like I said, the sales guy goes to bring in the clients. Account managers ensure that these clients are properly onboarded. What does onboarding mean? These clients must be able, probably if it's a technical product, they would show these clients usually how to use the product, right? They would make sure that all the necessary documentations, everything that they would need, the clients are able to, while building relationship, then also constantly checking in on these guys, solving their problems, and then if it's a technical product that's, oops, sorry, my alarm went off. If it's a technical product that requires a bit of renewal. So I'm using Zoom right now. I have to renew this Zoom every month, right? if I do not, let's assume I purchase their, let's say, enterprise value, and I'm paying maybe £1,000 per year, for instance. If I don't subscribe for the next year, they might mail me, and that can be the account manager, right? And then just try to make sure that the relationship is being kept, and then the cost, just to also reduce your churn, right? Then for you to succeed as an effective account or a client, like I said, some companies call it account management, some client relationships, some relationship manager. Everything is talking about the fact that they have to manage that relationship with the client, right? And then they must understand the needs. Proactive communication will not, they will not wait for the customer or the client to come with a complaint. They would usually be the one asking them, right? And then tailoring their interaction to suit the client, and then always checking on them to get feedback. Then one of the key things that account managers usually do. So if I started using, let's say I started using my Zoom platform, I only use it for holding meetings, right? The account manager for Zoom might reach out to me and say, oh, we also have a product that you can integrate. Why not stream directly on YouTube, for instance, right? They can upsell that, and they might want me to pay more to be able to do that. So that's what upselling means. So upselling means that the customer is using a product, right? And then you are selling them something similar on a higher level. I'm trying to use layman terms so that it's easier to grasp. So let's assume you walk into a restaurant, right? You walk into a restaurant and you order for rice. Now, and you notice that the person selling rice for you will tell you, oh, are you not going to buy meat? That is upselling, point blank. If they ask you, are you not to buy meat, you say yes, you're going to buy meat. They ask you, are you going to buy plantain? That is upselling. They're upselling you. It's in the same line. Then you buy Coke. Eventually, you spend all your money there. Now, if the person now decides to say, oh, you are enjoying yourself, maybe you are eating your food, you are enjoying yourself so much, and they say, oh, don't you want dessert? Don't you want to buy ice cream to top up? That's cross-selling. It's not in line with what you're eating, but it will definitely still help you to get satisfaction, but you don't have to, do it. So that's essentially what upselling and cross-selling is an additional product. So for somebody who is using, for someone who is using a financial product, let's say PiggyVest, for instance, and you are using their savings platform, right? All you do is just save your money there, month in, month out. You can receive a mail one day and say, oh, now we are offering investment platforms where you can come and buy, which PiggyVest is doing right now. They've upsold you. If you eventually purchase that, then that's upselling. But if they not tell you that, oh, we are now into crypto, come and buy crypto, they've cross-sold you to a different area. And then product bundling, offer you discounts on different areas. And then value proposition, like I said, customers pay for value, right? They'll tell you exactly how their product is valuable, right? Sometimes people don't even know the difference between PiggyVest and Cowrywise. They do almost the same thing, right? Or maybe a Revolut and a Monzo. It's almost the same thing that they do. These are banking apps, right? But then they have their own uniqueness in their own way. And then everything must be done in a timely way. The KPIs for account managers, like I said, retention rates, customer satisfaction score, which is CSAT, net promoter score. How many of us have, maybe after using a Google Meet meeting link, they now ask you, please rate our services, and they give you 1 to 3, 1 to 3, 4, 5, 6 stars. What they're trying to get is the NPS, that's the net promoter score. That helps them to, get the pulse from the client or user to say, oh, how well are they using, this product? Or maybe you are trying to, log into a banking app, and they by force make sure that you click, are you enjoying our services, right? Yes or no. I have some apps that do it, very annoying, right? So they want to know. And we've talked about upsell and cross-sell, and we've talked about churn rates, right? So these are some softwares that are being used, for account management software. They use a lot of software in account management because they manage a whole lot of customer data, Salesforce, Zoho, ERP. Then for project management, Asana, Trello, Monday.com. Communication, Slack, Microsoft Teams. For analytics, Excel, Power BI, Tableau, and the likes. To also get surveys, you have SurveyMonkey and Typeform. These are just, different. Then for the career path for account management, you usually start like this: entry level, and then mid-level account manager, professional, then you go to senior level, and then after when you're a senior account manager or a global account manager, most times there's no usually, unless your company has opening for maybe head of commercial or commercial director, right? There's usually nothing else after that, after you move into a director position. But this takes like 10, 15, 20 years to get to. So for further resources, obviously LinkedIn, Udemy. Like I'd always say, learn the skill first and then pursue certifications later. If the certifications enable you get the skills, fine, right? So we have a brief time. So we're going to run through customer success, which is the last. I have about, let me see how many minutes I have left. All right, I have about 10 minutes. So I'm going to try and run through customer success in 10 minutes. So introduction to customer success. I would give room for questions, but please would take that, after this. So the basics is to understand. So like I was trying to explain late. So imagine the sales guy has gotten to get the clients. The clients are now in the company. Account manager is helping them with their day-to-day life. Oh, the client needs maybe they want to get a particular thing, the account managers will help them. Or who is monitoring how the business is doing on day to day, checking their books, account managers do that. Now, what the customer success would do, right? Some companies have this, some do not have it, right? What they would do is to make sure that the clients, right, are getting the best out of the product, right? How would they do this? So I could argue, and someone could present a very interesting, disagreement, right? Customer success usually have more knowledge about the product than the account managers and even the sales guys, right? Because it is their job to make sure that the client is using the product well, you know, trying to get the best out of the product. I'm just trying to like be as simple with the vocabulary as possible. And then they focus more on long-term satisfaction and loyalty, right? So customer success or CS, right, has their own, KPIs and things that they are being, rated by. Now, most companies would have, for customer success managers who have a target for revenue. Remember, account managers necessarily do not have a target for revenue, right? And then they also have, they have to watch their churn rate and retention rate. So this is just like a flow of the responsibilities of a customer success manager. So let's start from the onboarding part, right? So when a client gets on board using a product, what their customer success manager will do is to like take the customer through the onboarding processes, their documentation. If you are registering for a financial app or a financial product or something, and you have to submit different documentation at every time, usually is the customer success person from the onboarding that is helping you do that. Then they train these customers. So most times, right, in companies that I've seen, right, in large companies, what they will do is that for training, it's not the account managers that will train them, it's the customer success guys that will train. It's not even the technical sales, it's the customer success that will do all these trainings, right? And then for support, feedback, then resell, upsell, right? So would I say the customer success person's job is difficult? No, but the customer success person is leaning towards more the product and how the customer is using the product. The account manager is based on relationship and how they can, help the customer grow in terms of revenue. The sales guy is more about meeting their own set targets, and then bringing in more customers for the company. So, but for most companies, one person is doing all these three. I'm sure some of you would agree with me that, especially if you are in the sales role right now, you agree that if your company doesn't have these three roles distinctly, you are doing everything, which can be a lot of stress, right? So for customer success, right, like I said, onboarding is key. Onboarding is just that process where the customer that doesn't know anything about your product starts to use the product, and then the process from when they start to when they finish, you help them. The customer success guy will help the client define what success means to them, right? And then they will set milestones to make sure that they're always achieving, these successes. And then they check about the health, the success plan, like I mentioned, and then also proactive support. there are different metrics for measuring customer success. Some of them are a bit different from account management. Like, so the CSAT is for everybody. NPS is for everyone, like I mentioned, explained last time. Then, but customer lifetime value is for customer success. What customer lifetime value is that when a client is being onboarded, how much is that client expected to make for my business in 1 year, right? And then in 5 years, and then in 10 years. If you're able to put a value to that, then you understand how your customer lifetime value is. And then the churn rate, which everyone, that is the tech sales, the account manager would also pay attention to. And then the renewal rate. So the customer success also is being challenged or being graded by renewal rate. How many customers are coming back to renew their subscription? And then for tools that we use is a bit different, right? There's platforms such as Gainsight, Totango, there are awesome customer success tools. And then the CRM tools, the account managers and sales guys also use this. Salesforce, HubSpot, and then for surveys, analytics, and communication, Intercom is usually one of the biggest tools that are used by. So for most of us, right, if you have ever messaged maybe UBA, or if you're in the UK, you message Revolut, and you message anybody, and somebody replies and they're trying to reply your query, or you complain on Twitter, and somebody comes there to answer that query, right? It is someone from the customer success team that has answered you. It's not someone from the account management team. So that's where the difference is. Customer success also has a spot for they have a spot for onboarding. They also have a spot for support where they help with day-to-day, complaints of customers. And then also, of course, career paths, entry-level roles, mid-level roles, senior level roles, director of success. Most times, right, you would see that somebody who is in customer success, it's easy for them to transit into product management. It is very easy because they have to go beyond the knowledge that the account manager we have, or the knowledge that the technical sales we have. They have to understand the product in depth. And most times, the kind of knowledge that the customer success manager is supposed to have is usually the kind of knowledge the product manager is also supposed to have. So most times, it's easy for someone to transition into product management from customer success. And I've seen other times when a product manager, is promoted, or now in charge of a customer success team, because the roles are similar, right? It's just a bit of technicality that differentiates them. And then the online learning resources, and then that's it for our session. Does anyone have any questions before we join the main group? Yes, you will get, the meetings are recorded. You would get access to it. It'll be uploaded. Does anyone have any questions? Any questions? Any questions, anyone?
Thank you, sir. No questions from my end.
Okay. Thank you very much for responding. Does anyone have any other questions? Maybe what I've said. We talked about account management, talked about customer success, talked about tech sales. Questions that you would want to see answered, or everything I've said makes a whole lot of sense and we just understand everything. Just want to know. All right. Absence of none, where the others are going to be joining us very, very soon, and then would continue the session when everyone joins. So I'm just going to
Good afternoon, sir.
good afternoon, ma.
I'm sorry for speaking late. I actually have a question. Thank you for the session. It's well understood. And my question now is, tech sales and financial sales, can it be compared? Like, is there a comparison between both?
Tech sales and financial sales.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. So when you say financial sales, what exactly is the, can you give me an idea of the JD of the person? What are they doing exactly when you say financial sales?
Okay, like banks that have financial packages for their customers.
Yeah, you can say because most time these guys are either selling loans or stuff like that, right?
Yes, definitely.
Or someone selling insurance, someone selling loans. Yeah, it's the same principle, right? Applies. So remember, I gave an instance that if I was selling this, this headset, for instance, this is an headset, right? It's not a
Yes.
tech product, it's a product, right? So the approach I would use is different. So if I was telling you, let's assume I'm telling you that, oh, come and buy. Which software can I use that to be general? Let's assume I'm asking you to come and start paying for WhatsApp subscription, for instance, because I believe they will get there very soon. So if they say, oh, let's start paying for WhatsApp, so it's going to be £1 per month, right? But if we get to that, I think Telegram has something like that. If you're looking for a much robust items, you do ask you to come and pay, to use those items. So it's just you're doing essentially doing the same selling, but tech sales is just selling mainly digital products. I don't know if that answers your question. It's sales, right? But we're just selling different products in different industries. So if it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing because they are selling loans. They are selling, that is the service that they're selling. They're not selling it doesn't require a annual subscription or a monthly subscription. It doesn't require any, any of that. Um, I need to what's the difference between I need to close all the rooms now so everyone can join in so we can, you know, stick to time. Yeah, so what's the difference between tech sales and Salesforce administration? Okay, look at it this way, right? You have the football. Let's use a football team. You have a football team and you have the players which are usually on the pitch playing. You have a coach, you have an assistant coach, you have the technical support, you have the medics, you have the other guys that are behind. Most time we don't get to see, you know, these other guys, right? Those guys are like administrators. They help get the jersey, they help, get the boots, they help, feed the players, whatever. So what salesman and Salesforce administration will usually do is that what Salesforce itself is a product. So you can learn that product and know how to use that product to then help businesses achieve their own goals. So if it's to sell, if it's to manage, whatever it is, right? So you may not be at the forefront. I don't know if that answered your question. Is it tech sales that GoTV and DSTV use? No. They are because the physical products that they are selling they'll first sell you the what's it called? You have to buy the tech for it to qualify as tech sales, there's no physical item involved. For it to qualify as tech sales, there's no physical item involved. So it's just the regular although yeah, it has a subscription where you have to pay, subscribe, but you have to like get the dish, get the decoder, I think that's the name, and every other thing.